Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Monday, 7 o'clock p.m., sharp Eastern Standard Time. Just want to welcome you back. My name is Andre Anderson. I'm both host and founder of this wonderful company, BSTL. And of course, by now you should know it means building something that lasts. I hope you're keeping well. The weather is a whole lot better. We're completely out of winter now. Yes, it's been raining a little bit, but look, summer is around the corner and I hope you're getting summer ready. You know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. So anyways, I'm excited today. I got a great friend online with us for this conversation. We've known each other for a long time, a very long time. Let me just tell you what his name is. I'm sure you've heard it before, but at least let me say it out loud before he jumps in and comes in on this conversation. His name is Kevin Cameron. I mean, if there is a guy that has gifts in all kinds of different areas, it is certainly this guy. So, Kevin, welcome.
Oh man, I'm so happy to be here with you, Andre. I appreciate the invitation to talk.
Well, you know what? I'm excited to have you on here because I know that. Well, look, we used to work with each other. We went to rivaling churches when we were kids. We couldn't stand your church. You couldn't stand our church. But somehow, in the midst of that, because we love the Lord, we've been able to set aside our differences. Now, because I
For
knew you were
sure.
coming on today, I could have read an entire bio on you. And it would be a great bio for all of the different things that you've done throughout the years. But I thought maybe, if it's okay with you, that you would just tell us two things, like two memorable things that you'd like the listeners here on this podcast to know about you.
Absolutely, I will. I'm happy to say that um, in my short life, because I'm young, I have experienced a whole career in education,
Hmm.
almost 19 years in different. Um, I was a teacher, an English teacher, and then I became a principal and of an elementary school, and I
Hmm.
was a principal of a high school, and I've been through um, a lot of different areas in education, a whole lifetime of work in education. So I'm proud of the time that I spent in education and the relationships that I built, especially the relationships that I built over time and the students I taught and how a lot of them are my friends now, and I love that point that I am in my life with that. And so, education plays a big part in my life, and now I am fortunate to be living my dream, and that is being an entrepreneur and telling stories um, through the lens. So I have my own business called KC Films and Media, which is a production company. And the majority of the work that I do is really video marketing, so making commercials for businesses
Hmm.
and making the short documentaries for people to tell their stories so that people can learn about more about what they do and start to build trust online so that they can start to convert people and get some customers to make money. And the true love of it all is my writing, screenplays, and producing movies and documentaries and stuff like that. So I'm fortunate enough to be doing that full time.
Yeah, and Kevin, let me just say this because many years ago, when we were working together in the school system, I had a chance to be in your world when you would have made your first film. And that thing was so good. Like, it was really good. Not just the film itself. I think the way that you galvanized people and brought people together, the way that you used your students, and even the way that you attacked using technology in a space where I think that technology may not necessarily been seen as a major piece, especially in ministry and those kinds of things. I just remember thinking to myself, this guy is completely out of this world, right? I mean, in our context, in Toronto, Canada, you were the first person that I could honestly say that I knew that was making films. Like I know some actors, so that I knew, but somebody
Mm-hmm.
behind the camera that's saying and action and writing it and editing it and all of that different stuff. Look, let me just say this: if I haven't said it, I think publicly it's always good to give people flowers while they can smell it and the accolades while they can still hear it. I'm really proud of what you have meant to our community. Maybe you should give a little bit of context in terms of your background. Maybe that would be helpful to give people a context to our conversation today.
Sure, sure. Well, first let me say thank you for that. That time meant a lot to me, and it was foundational. And when I think of some of my core memories, the making of Hush was is a core memory, and I remember how I felt. I remember a lot of great things, great feelings about that day,
Mm-hmm.
of the premiere day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I am Kevin Cameron again, and I am born of Jamaican parents. I'm
Mm-hmm.
Canadian.
Big up.
I'm a I'm a Seventh Day Adventist,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really a church boy. Like
Mm-hmm.
my life is surrounded around a church. And I haven't been attending since the pandemic. I haven't been attending like I used to,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because I live in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of miss what church is like in Toronto in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the community,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
my
yeah.
friends and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. Yeah. And then Cleveland, same thing. My good friend was the pastor, and he's just a dynamic preacher, and then the community there it was fun. So Florida's not quite like that. So
Mm-hmm.
we've been kind of home watching Oakwood, where my daughter attends, Oakwood University.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Kevin. I want us to jump into this today um,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that when I listen to you, you are somebody that embraces change. And when I say change, not just change because, some people change because they're disgruntled, they're unhappy, they want to make adjustments because, something has soured them. No. I have always found you to be a leader that is willing to make whatever adjustments are required. And of course, our first battles would have been on the basketball court. When you would have
Mm-hmm.
been playing point guard for your church, and I was playing like small forward for my church, I just remember
Mm-hmm.
thinking, his style of play, it looks different. It's not like how everybody else is dribbling the ball up the court, and so from a
Mm-hmm.
very young age, I think one of the things that you really embraced was this idea that as a leader, you've got to be able to change and morph and evolve and become whatever you need to be in order to meet the challenge. Can you maybe give us a little bit of a perspective on, your personal mantra? What does that look like for Kevin?
Yeah, I love that question, because I have an answer. And so basically, I love change, and I don't know
Hmm.
how it happened. I don't know why it is that way with me, but I absolutely love change. Just the other day, I was saying to my wife that we have one more house, one more move in us, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, I don't want to move," but I just love the newness of building a house, and watching the foundation being poured, and
Hmm.
watching the walls come up, and I just love it. I love the anticipation of closing day. I love having to furnish the house. Like, I just love that stuff, and um, I just embrace change. So it's a difficult thing for a lot of people, because um, change involves uncertainty,
Yeah.
and people don't like to feel uncertain, and they want to know what's going on. They want to be in control. And one thing about me is I understand. Like, I'm a vulnerable person. I put myself out there,
Hmm.
and um, I understand that if I'm going to live a life of change, or be open to change or vulnerability, that I'm going to be exposed to either really high highs
Yes.
or I may have to experience some lows.
Yeah.
And because I don't live in a safe type of cocoon when
Yeah.
it comes to life and progressing in life. So here's my main thing. My
Mm-hmm.
main philosophy is I want to experience everything that God has for me.
Yeah.
Every morsel. I don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah.
And so if that means I have to change and adjust and
Yeah.
grow,
Yeah.
that means I'll do it.
Yeah.
And if that means that I'm going to have to experience some licks, take some hits on the way,
Yeah.
hey, that's what it's going to have to take. And I'm not afraid of receiving those because I think the highs are greater than the lows. I've experienced some severe lows, but
Mm-hmm.
my highs are far greater than the lows.
So let's talk a little bit about this idea of uncertainty, right? Because I think uncertainty is built into and woven into the fabric of life, right? Like the truth is,
Mm-hmm,
on any particular day, anything could happen. The birth
mm-hmm,
of a child, the death of a loved one, getting a pink slip on your job, moving out of the
mm-hmm.
country, or
Yeah, yep,
finding
yep, yep.
$5 on the floor that allows you to go to your favorite restaurant and buy a big beef patty and cocoa bread with a cola
Mm-hmm,
champagne. Like on any given day,
mm-hmm,
uncertainty is woven into life. So as a leader,
mm-hmm,
right, because I don't see you as a follower, how have you
mm-hmm.
been able to navigate the uncertainty portion of life?
Yeah. Basically, for as a leader, like let's say a leader in a school system
Mm-hmm.
or even just my business, uh, I just always I'm goal oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is I won't reach my goals unless I try. I
Mm-hmm.
won't reach my goals unless I try to reach my goals. And so there is so much uncertainty in just trying to achieve something or will I do it? So let me give you a real world example.
Okay.
I am making uh, a feature film. It's called Forever's a Long Time.
Mm-hmm.
And I I am looking for funding. So
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I haven't done it sooner is because I've been a little bit um, nervous about asking people
Mm-hmm.
for contributions to make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always thinking that at some point or another, somebody would offer me,
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, I will fund it. That
Mm-hmm.
day hasn't come. So
Mm-hmm.
now I have to take it upon myself to go and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for $60,000 to
Mm-hmm.
make this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to ask people for
Mm-hmm.
money. So and there is a limit on I did it Indiegogo. So
Mm-hmm.
they say you have 40 days to do this
Mm-hmm.
to meet your goal.
Yeah.
And I'm in the midst of and there's a whole bunch of uncertainty and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of feels like I'm not going to reach the goal.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, hold on. Can I
but
pause you? Can I pause you for one
yes, yes,
second?
yes, yes,
Do it
yes,
here.
yes, yes.
Tell us specifically how we can support you. So just plug it here because, again, I don't know how far it's going to go. By the time we all do our networking and people listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
you might be able to get some people to come out of this. So just tell us specifically what we need to do here, please.
Okay, well, you can go to my Facebook. That's KC Films and Media, and or you can go to my Instagram, KC Films Media. Just how it sounds, KC Films with an S Media, and it'll have a link in my bio that will take you straight to the Indiegogo page where they are receiving the donations.
All right. Continue now.
Um, so the
Meeting your
reality
goals.
is,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the reality is I may not. I'm uncertain whether I'm going to meet the goal or not, and I kind of feel like I may not reach the goal.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? I have two things about this. I know that when I step out and do something always comes of it.
Right.
So I may not reach that particular goal,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you right now, I got a DM from
Mm-hmm.
someone, from a
Okay.
friend who's from a friend on my Instagram, and
Yeah.
the person said, "Hey Kevin, I see that you're making a movie. my boyfriend is a few years back. He he helped people raise money for projects like this.
Oh,
Here's
nice.
his phone number. Here's his phone number. I'm happy to. He'll be happy to talk to you,
Oh,
right?
nice.
And
Yeah.
so along the way, there's always little things that I learned. I am so willing to try and fail
Hmm.
because not trying is the real failure to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Say that again. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Now,
mm-hmm,
here's the thing, though, Kevin. So when I'm hearing you say, all right, uncertainty, you're willing to walk the line of uncertainty. But I'm also
mm-hmm.
hearing you say that as a leader, your vision then is the thing
Yeah,
that drives you when uncertainty doesn't necessarily make sense. Do you want
yeah.
to
You wrapped that up very. Yes.
go ahead, man?
No, no, no. I'm saying that you summarized all of my storytelling into the appropriate sentence. Yes.
Okay. Well, then maybe you need to put me in one of your films then. Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Yeah, because the struggle is this, Kevin, right? The uncertainty piece, it's also a part of entrepreneurship, right? Like
Mm-hmm,
as a teacher, you thrived, you did well. I mean, as you were going through a little bit of your resume, like you started as a teacher and then you moved your way up and then now you're not teaching anymore. And so
mm-hmm,
therefore, the uncertainty happens sometimes when you outgrow things. But the idea here
mm-hmm.
is that I think that at every stage, as I observe you as an outsider looking in, I recognize that Kevin is the type of guy that is okay with outgrowing where he is in order to get to the next level. I think that's probably
What?
one of the things that people need to hear about, as a change
Sure.
agent and as a leader that
Yeah,
you are. Maybe you can help us to understand that a little bit more too.
for sure. Happy to share. So, um, I think the best way for me to describe this is continue to tell some more stories. So, um, a lot of times people are frozen because they fear
Mm,
change and they fear the uncertainty, and it cripples their ability to grow.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And I was at a crossroads my first 10 years of teaching. As I approached the 9 year mark, I started to feel like, oh my, like I need more than just to come and teach. And
mm-hmm.
um, that's the reason why I was giving myself the extra work because I kind of needed more to wake up and feel that vigor of life because I was feeling like, okay, yeah, I teach English, but then now what? Because there are other things I want to achieve in life. I want to travel. I want to do this, that, and the other. And
Mm-hmm.
my teaching job is not going to match up with the things that I want to do in life.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I would write plays
Mm-hmm.
and and put on stage plays. I did two of those at the school, and then I did the
Mm-hmm.
movie. I started to feel antsy,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns out that the opportunity, because I was not necessarily praying about it, but
Mm-hmm.
because God hears and knows me, and I'm in relationship with Him,
Yeah.
He kind of knows the opportunity started to come. So I got
Mm.
a call to go to Tennessee for a principal job, and that didn't work out. And while I was on my way there, and we had to turn around, I got another call to go visit a friend in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and I did that, and that turned out to be the offer to come and be the principal of that school in Cleveland, Ohio.
Nice.
And let me tell you right now, I didn't. Me or my wife did not want to leave Toronto
Mm-hmm.
to go to Cleveland, Ohio.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was not something that we really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But we, after praying and after hearing God's voice, and also I kind of understood that in order for me to grow, I may have to take a step back in terms of my comfort,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably had to take a few hits,
Mm-hmm.
financially and all of that. in order to go to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So advancement
Mm-hmm.
doesn't always mean that you're going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Advancement sometimes means lateral or
Mm-hmm.
down.
Yeah. Yeah. Kevin,
And yeah,
sorry, and I don't
mm-hmm.
mean to interrupt you, but I think that that's such a profound thing because, the idea that you're pivoting and making an adjustment in order to go where you feel divinely led. Um, just the idea or the concept of going horizontally and then down. I wouldn't even say backwards, because backwards
Mm-hmm.
sometimes is forward, right? I like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you say that because I think some leaders don't take the jump unless they can guarantee that it's up
correct,
all the way. Yeah, I'll stop there.
correct, correct. Yeah, and so I was looking at my position as a teacher, and I was looking around the school, and I was like, the way things look here, I'm gonna have to probably wait my turn if I ever had aspirations of being in administration. And waiting my turn means 50, and
Mm,
I'm 30,
yeah,
so that's not gonna work for me.
yeah.
So I put I put my toes in different waters. So the reality is I did a few things. I
Mm-hmm.
applied to get my teacher certificate in public school. I applied to York University to do my MFA.
Mm-hmm.
I applied to Toronto Film School.
Mm,
I was interviewing for the position in Cleveland, and I accepted a conversation to be a principal in Tennessee.
mm-hmm.
So all of this was happening um, while I was feeling some kind of way about my lack of growth in the school that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for people, I think sometimes they're stagnant. So if someone is feeling like they want more,
Mm-hmm.
don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Go after it. Like
Mm-hmm.
put out an application,
Yeah.
go on LinkedIn
Yeah.
and see what people are offering. Like
Mm-hmm.
start something on the side. Like don't just sit there and wait for something to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
more than likely, it's just not gonna magically happen. Like
Right.
you have to put yourself out there. You got to try something. You got to do something. You got to, get your. I don't. I was gonna say resume, but I don't know if people use resumes anymore. Like, uh,
Maybe word of mouth.
you gotta do,
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta do something. Like, you just can't wait. And so, when I did all of that, not everybody accepted me. Toronto Film School accepted me. The
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee thing, they didn't want to apply for my work
Your
permit to
visa.
work in
Yeah.
the states.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't. So that didn't work out. Um, York University for the program for the MFA, they accept 9 people. I
Mm.
didn't hear anything. I called them. They said, Kevin, we've sent out all 9 offers. You're number 10.
Oh
If
wow.
someone doesn't, yeah, if someone doesn't accept, you're in.
Wow.
Everybody accepted. I didn't get in.
Oh,
I
that's
really
good news.
wanted to do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really wanted to do that program,
Yeah.
and it was difficult. In that instance, I had I was behind the 8 ball because I didn't do an undergrad in film,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it would have been difficult for me to get in. But they said I was number 10. I took that as a victory.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got into Toronto Film School, but I said at the point I was in life, I don't really need a diploma. I need a graduate degree. So I
Yeah.
didn't accept that. And then I felt led to move to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And moving to Cleveland was the best, worst thing that could ever happen.
Yeah. And it sounds to me, Kevin, as I listen to kind of like how you're navigating life, um, that you've got an emotional steadiness that is required to take some of the hits. Like nobody wants to
Mm-hmm,
hear that you're number 10. Nobody wants
mm-hmm,
to hear, sorry, you didn't get in. Nobody
mm-hmm,
wants to hear you weren't number one on our list, especially, when you've had a measure of success without having to
mm-hmm,
go through the normal processes of
mm-hmm,
life, as we're talking about your film work and so on and so forth. How
mm-hmm.
important then is it to have an emotional steadiness, right? We're talking about you as a leader, right?
Wow, 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 wow. It is so important. So important. And I think being a principal helped me to develop that,
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't be emotional in the position that everybody needed me to be solid.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love this conversation. I didn't realize how much I would enjoy this conversation. I have another story.
Yeah.
I have another story that speaks to um, disappointment. And here it goes. So I was being, I was the principal of the school, and I got some calls saying, "Hey, we want you to come and interview for this position because we really want you to be at this other school." So that's, I'm stepping up now, right?
Mm-hmm.
This job was in Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
and the way it was presented to me was, "Kevin, we want you," and and um, and there's nothing that would stand in the way of it. Just go through the motions. That's the way it was. So sorry, let me correct that. So it was a a a principal program training for 1 year. You would
Mm-hmm.
get paid, and you were being trained to be a top administrator.
Oh,
And
nice.
so they were only accepting a few people, and so they offered me to come interview. And basically the way that the gentleman was talking to me is like, "Hey, we want you to be a part of this. It's a formality."
Mm-hmm.
So to be honest with you, I had a big head about it. I was a little bossy with it in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and I went. It was a day flight. I felt good about that. They're flying me
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go do this interview, and they're flying me back home. Like I'm on flights. It felt good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the interview. It was a group interview, and I always feel like I do interviews well, right? So I did the interview, flew back home, and I was just waiting to hear when I would begin the program. And when I actually heard from the gentleman, I got an email saying, "Unfortunately,
Mm.
uh, you were not accepted into the program." And I was beside myself.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I was beside myself. So I called the gentleman who was recruiting me because he had my wife all like trying to talk to her about where we're gonna live in Maryland, all this stuff. Like I thought it was a shoe in,
Mm-hmm.
and so I called him irate, and I said to him, "What happened? I thought that whatever, whatever. Like what?
Yeah.
I thought this was like a formality. Like." And he
Mm-hmm.
let me talk. He let me talk, and he was a guy in a good position. Um, and it's funny. He let me talk, and then when I stopped, he said to me, "Hey, Kevin, have you considered
Mm-hmm.
that you may not be as good as you think you are?"
Mm. Wow. That's what he said.
That's what he said to me,
Holy cow. Okay.
and I was definitely in my feelings about it.
Mm-hmm.
And as we got off the phone, I was upset, didn't like what he said.
Mm-hmm.
But as the weeks went by,
Wow.
I started to sit in that comment.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that that comment changed me and helped me to realize that I'm not that great.
From his
And that
perspective.
I mean, and I'm saying that in a philosophical type of
Okay.
way.
Yeah.
I'm not that great. Like there are people who are much better than me. Who am I to think that I should walk into something and get it? No, that's not how things work.
Mm-hmm.
And so it helped me to give me more perspective on life, to handle disappointments better,
Mm-hmm.
to take the no as that wasn't for me. And I was used to, like I have people, friends that will say, "Oh yeah, if I do an interview, I'll get a job." I was
Mm-hmm.
used to successes, like
Yeah.
getting winning.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was like, "Whoa, that's." But it really helped me. And then it happened to me again. I interviewed for a principal job in Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
and it was based, and I had people on the board on the inside,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't hire me,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so confused about that. But I didn't take it too hard because
Mm-hmm.
I was I was I was prepared, for the how to position my mind.
Right.
And you're talking about the emotional part,
Yeah.
to be emotionally strong to hear a no.
Yeah.
It was surprising,
Yeah.
but I still did not let it deflate me. And the reality is, years later,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't in Maryland, I got a phone call randomly because I started my business, and I got a random call saying, "Hey, do you want to move to Florida? I have an opportunity for you."
Oh wow.
If I had been in Maryland, I wouldn't have gotten that call.
Yeah. And you would have been settled there.
Yep. Yep.
So, Kevin, see, the Lord has a way of like creating a thing so that you have no choice but to say yes. Like we have to wind this conversation down, but we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to come back and talk about the entrepreneurship side of things and
For sure.
how
For
even
sure.
being a father has also created this kind of ability to change because I mean we're both fathers, right? So we both understand that raising children there is no book, there is no passage of scripture maybe even that allows you to understand your child or your children. So we have to talk about
Right.
that because that's what we said we were going to talk about. But this has actually become a really good conversation. But here's what I do want to do though, Kevin, before we end this conversation today. I wonder if you could maybe summarize some of what you've said, because I really want our listeners to really capture. And I think this has been a great conversation, but you've said a lot of really good nuggets that I may not be able to consolidate the way that you do. So please take us out. Maybe you can just tell us what your feelings are on this conversation around change.
Yeah, I would admonish people or encourage people who are feeling maybe stagnant, or are afraid to try something new, that you really need to put your foot forward and try it, because there is no success without trying to actually be successful. Success doesn't fall into your lap.
Mm-hmm.
Success is something that you go and get.
Mm.
And success is so many different things. Like, I'll give you another short example.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, um, I I put out a course, an online course on how to make a professional promotional video for business owners,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I'm already successful. I haven't sold one yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm already successful because I did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I made the course. It's
Yes.
on my website,
Yeah.
and when somebody comes knocking on the door,
Yeah.
it's there. It's
Yeah.
ready.
Yes.
I'm,
Yes.
I'm already a success. So
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
person who has all of these ideas in their mind and all these things they need to do, you need to do it. And it's in the doing
Yeah.
where you grow. It's in the doing that you become successful.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say is,
Yeah.
don't be afraid of falling. Don't be afraid of disappointment. Don't be afraid of, you know, hitting an obstacle and maybe not being able to complete it, because every step forward that you take
Mm-hmm.
is a step towards success.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every step you take, whether it was a 10-step program and you only did 3 steps, that
Yeah.
means you're 3 steps
Further.
closer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know,
Wow.
I would say go into it, go into it, go into it.
Um, I think the takeaway, and again, it doesn't diminish all of the things that you've said and all of the different stories. And I like the fact that you're not just a storyteller; you're a teller of stories of yourself. But
Oh,
I
for
like
sure.
I like the I like the idea that it's in the going, it's in the doing
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
really positions you. So
Mm-hmm.
many people forget that it's not about the resume packing. It's not about being able to prove that you've done a million and one things, because you're not really going out there to prove these things to people. Really, this is your life. And if you
Hmm.
can just, it sounds to me, Kevin, based on your life sketch, your life story, that if you can just get going, then maybe there are
Hmm.
some doors that close that really force other doors, better doors, to open up for you. I want to say thank you so
Absolutely.
much for joining us, Kevin. Look, we have to do the part two because we've got to talk about the entrepreneurship. And then I really am looking forward to the bonus conversation around parenting because I think that's also
Yeah.
important because all of that is a part of your overall storytelling. So guess what? We have come to the end of a wonderful podcast today. Thank you, Kevin Cameron of KC Films, right? Productions. I think I got it right. Uh,
AC Films and Media,
and media. Thank you. You're going to have to come back. That I know.
for sure.
But again, thank you to our listeners for tuning in yet again. My name's Andre Anderson. And look, change is not easy. And there is no one formula for it. But I think Kevin has cracked the code for those of us that are feeling a little bit discouraged and maybe not certain of what is to come. He is living proof that what is to come may happen with two steps forward and several back, but it positions you for a greater thing. Until next time, my name is Andre Anderson. I'm both host and founder of BSTL. And if you'd like to have me come out and speak a little bit more about these topics or more, remember it's bstlinc21 at gmail.com. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share because I believe that this conversation is going to help somebody who's on the journey of leadership. Take care. Until next time. Bye for now.